Governor Mary Fallin meets with Donald Trump. Oklahomans protest the Dakota pipeline, and Pawnee residents want to be paid for earthquake damage. This is OU Nightly. Governor Mary Fallin was in New York today interviewing for a new job. Her prospective boss, the President-elect of the United States.
The Oklahoma governor was one of several political heavyweights who met with Donald Trump to discuss jobs in his administration. Among the luminaries, former Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich and former Texas Governor Rick Perry. Fallin is being considered to head the Interior Department. She hasn't been offered the position, but as head of the Interior Department, she would be responsible for the nation's great outdoors.
Congresswoman is being considered for UN ambassador. Other folks who were invited to see the president-elect were Oklahoma Governor Mary Fallin and former Massachusetts Senator Scott Brown, who had remarks for reporters after their meetings with the transition team.
Lieutenant Governor Todd Lamb would replace Fallin if she does land a job in Trump's administration. Mary Fallin hasn't always been involved in politics, nor is she an Oklahoma native. Fallin was born Mary Copeland in Warrensburg, Missouri. She earned a bachelor's degree at Oklahoma State University and worked for several government agencies before trying her hand in hotel management and real estate. In 1990, she entered politics and was elected twice to the Oklahoma House. She followed that with 3 terms as lieutenant governor before being elected twice to the U.S. House of Representatives. She returned home in 2011 to begin her current term as governor.
And despite being the Republican governor of a heavily Republican state, Fallin's term has been rocked by trouble and frequent criticism in the national media. One major news outlet labeled her the country's worst governor. In this 2014 segment of MSNBC All In with Chris Hayes, the political commentator laid out his case. Hayes points to the national outrage over Oklahoma's botched executions, Fallin's support for banning Oklahoma cities from raising the minimum wage. He noted her refusal to expand Medicaid coverage in Oklahoma, leaving 150,000 people without coverage. The denial benefits to same-sex members of the Oklahoma National Guard, and he sharply criticized her for being a big energy industry booster while thousands of earthquakes rattle the state.
But despite her problems, Mary Fallin has become one of the most successful women in Oklahoma political history, and that's in a state where women generally don't do well at the ballot box. The Oklahoma legislature has 149 members, but only 19 are women. That's just 13% compared to last year. That's 3 fewer seats. Only Wyoming has a smaller percentage of female legislatures in 2017, with about 10 or 11%. Nationwide, nearly a quarter of legislators are women. Cindy Rosenthal was the first female mayor in Norman history. She served 3 terms. She also directs OU's Congressional Research Center, is an expert on women in politics. Female lawmakers say they can generate change in issues Oklahoma struggles with, like education, substance abuse, and families. Rosenthal says women could make progress in reversing these trends with more representation in the legislature.
We live in a country that values representative institutions. So when you have a legislature in which only 12.8% of the members are women and they represent 52% of the populace, there's something wrong with that picture.
Rosenthal leads OU's new leadership program, which promotes young women to become political leaders and enter other leadership positions. Starting today, you can visit thousandstrong.ou.edu to donate money to help young women participate in the program. Now, it's been fairly warm outside today.
We keep getting hints of winter and then it goes away.
Goes right back.
Are we going to see any colder weather, Kylie?
Actually, yes, we do have a cool down that will be making its way into the area later on this evening. This is because of those scattered showers and thunderstorms out there in the western panhandle, the panhandle of Texas. Those will be making their way east throughout the rest of the evening. I'll have more on that in Maine weather as well. Coming up in Maine weather, those thunderstorms are going to stick with us Tuesday morning, and I'll have our first look at our Thanksgiving Day forecast. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Kylie. And Emily Akins joins us now in the News Center with updates on the Dakota Access Pipeline protests. Emily?
Thanks. Police sprayed Dakota Access Pipeline protesters last night with a water cannon and what appeared to be tear gas. The temperature fell to below 20 degrees and a nearby gym opened up its doors to let the freezing protesters take shelter inside. Around 17 people were still taken to the hospital, some with hypothermia, and a man helping organize the protest said about 180 protesters were injured. We will have more in a few minutes on the Oklahoma City protests happening today as well. And authorities continue to hunt for a suspect wanted in the killing of a San Antonio detective, Benjamin Marconi. Marconi was writing a traffic ticket when he was killed yesterday in front of police headquarters. The detective was one of 3 shootings that happened across the country Sunday in attacks that police described as ambushes. But police also said they do not believe this fatal shooting was tied to another ambush that happened hours later in St. Louis. And Syrian government forces advanced further into rebel-held Aleppo today. Forces killed at least 36 people in today's bombing, and a rescue worker said in 5 years, these are the most violent attacks Aleppo has seen. The regional director for the UN's Children's Agency said more than 100,000 children were trapped in a hospital as well. The recapture of the rebel-held east would be the government's most significant victory since the conflict began. And Allie, today is a nationwide day of protests for hourly workers, protesting a push for a $15 hourly wage and union rights. Hundreds of workers at the O'Hare International Airport in Chicago, one of the nation's busiest airports, are on strike today. The Chicago Department of Aviation says it doesn't anticipate any disruption in service.
Thank you, Emily. And law enforcement is searching for suspects in the weekend shooting deaths of 2 men in Oklahoma City. Sergeant Gary Knight says officers responded to reports of a shooting at a residence in the city's southwest side. When the officers arrived, they discovered the men had been shot to death inside of the residence. Police have identified the victims as Oklahoma City men.
And still ahead on OU Nightly, the Pawnee earthquake damage claims are rolling in.
Plus, Oklahomans take part in the Dakota Access Pipeline protests.
Welcome back. Nearly 300 damage claims have been submitted in the wake of Oklahoma's largest earthquake, but only 4 have been paid. This comes after the September 3rd 5.8 magnitude earthquake near Pawnee. The approved claims totaled $24,000, with one single payout accounting for $21,000. Claims from the Pawnee quake were about equal to the nearly 340 filed after a 5.7 earthquake hit Prague in 2011. Data shows about 1/3 of claims made after that quake were approved. And Harlee Toothman is here to tell us more about the largest oil deposit found in our neighboring state. Harlee?
The U.S. Geological Survey announces that an area in West Texas has the largest oil deposit in the U.S. Wolfcamp Shale contains 20 million barrels of oil and 16 trillion cubic feet of natural gas. Private companies have already been moving to extract the oil. That's worth $900 billion at current prices. USGS claims all 20 billion barrels of oil are recoverable with new technology. The metro area is offering a new way to conserve water when it comes to gardening. Rain barrels. These special rain barrels not only harvest rainwater to give the plants a fresh water source, the barrels also conserve drinking water and reduce stormwater pollution. The barrels will be available for sale this spring and cost around $63. Pipeline construction in North Dakota has provoked months of protests, sending waves of demonstration across the United States. OU Nightly's Stratton shows us how some Oklahomans are rising up and taking part.
In response to a rallying cry from North Dakota, Oklahomans are gathering, not just to object to the Dakota Access Pipeline, but state pipelines too.
There are just hundreds of pipelines just in Oklahoma. There's one coming right through my town, Norman, Oklahoma.
Frances, longtime environmental activist, says her main goal is preserving the planet for future generations.
All of these young people are going to feel these horrible effects of climate change. We could mediate this, but if we keep waiting, it's going to become impossible.
The outcry against oil pipelines has united environmental advocates like Francis with Native Americans who fear big oil is infringing on their lands. Ashley McCrae is a member of the absentee Shawnee tribe of Oklahoma and Lakota tribes in North Dakota.
Both of these pipelines affect my tribes, my mother's people up north and my father's people down here in Oklahoma.
McCrae founded Stop the Plains All-American Pipeline, a group that opposes a pipeline that would run from Cushing through Norman.
It's not just Dakota Access that people are fighting, that the fight is right here in our own backyard, that we see it, like we see Chesapeake right here, and we experience frac quakes regularly to where we're almost acclimated and used to it. That's what's scary.
Members of the group say they hope to generate change in the state government.
We're proving the oil industry wrong, that Oklahoma is tired of oil and gas extraction, and that we're ready for a just transition towards clean, renewable energy.
And though activists have succeeded in delaying construction of some pipelines, companies don't show any sign of permanently halting construction. Allie Stratton, OU Nightly.
The Dakota Access Pipeline won't directly cross native lands. However, due to its proximity, an oil spill can contaminate the tribe's main water source. The developer, Energy Transfer Partners, says the pipeline is a safer and more environmentally friendly way of moving crude oil. The company estimates the pipeline will bring more than $150 million in sales and income taxes to state and local governments and create 8,000 to 12,000 new jobs. And guys, NASA launched a new weather satellite, and it will track severe storms, fire, and volcanoes. And they're having another one in 2018.
Thanks, Harlee.
Thanks, Harlee.
And still ahead on OU Nightly, Kylie Capps is standing by with weather.
Sunny and windy outside right now, but rain showers are on their way. That and more coming up next. Welcome back to OU Nightly. I'm Kylie Capps. It's quiet outside right now after a fairly active weather weekend. Look up into the New York, New England area. That's the remnants of that low pressure system that dumped quite a bit of snow on the North Dakotas and extended on into Michigan as well. You can start to see our next storm system make its way into the panhandle of Oklahoma as well. Now throughout the rest of the evening today, that's whenever we're going to start to see those showers move in. It is, again, far west right now, but as that moves in, just expect to see some light showers and thunderstorms, maybe a rumble of thunder or two, but it is going to just be spotty throughout the entire region, and that should be over with by the end of or the beginning of Tuesday morning. Some possibility of a pop-up shower or thunderstorm early Tuesday morning again, but it should remain quiet throughout the rest of the day on Tuesday, just warming up another sunny, nice day ahead of us. Now, lows across the entire state tonight. It's going to be a warmer evening than we have seen over the past couple of days. 55 is a low here in Norman, cooler out in that panhandle, 44 out there for Guyman, warming up nicely throughout the rest of the day tomorrow. It's going to be an increasingly windy day. We could see gusts up to 30 miles per hour by 4 p.m., heating up to 67. Again, that is going to be warmer than we were today and over the past couple of days. Again, average for this time of year, 56 degrees, and we could possibly hit 70. We hit 70 today, could see it again tomorrow. There is a severe chance for some weather, especially south of us, south of Dallas, but we are going to be in that marginal area, which means we just could see a pop-up shower or thunderstorm throughout the morning tomorrow, and that is going to be, we will be keeping an eye on that as well. Highs across the state are going to be mild and warm. 70 here is a high in Norman, cooler out in that panhandle, and it's going to be fairly consistent throughout the entire state and much warmer than average for this time of year. Now, Thanksgiving Day in 3 days. I'm really looking forward to it. Mid-40s in the morning, warming up to the mid-60s in the afternoon. Warm and windy, a really pleasant day. Increasing clouds throughout the evening as it is going to cool down again on Friday. Taking a look at our 2-day forecast. Again, that chance of rain, I forecasted about a 40% chance on Tuesday morning, again ending after afternoon on Tuesday. Cooling off again on Wednesday, 61 is that high, and then Thanksgiving again, 64 is that high. Cooling off again into Friday, and then a really sunny, nice weekend ahead of us.
Looks like some great weather for Thanksgiving.
I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be beautiful.
Much warmer than we're used to.
I know, way warmer than average.
Thanks, Kylie.
You're welcome.
And it was a cold game day this weekend in Morgantown for the Sooners. Kenneth, what do you have for us?
That's right, guys. The Sooners faced off against West Virginia in a tough matchup, but OU faced more than just the Mountaineers in Morgantown. Sports is next.
Oh, the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. And since we've no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Man,
that was the case in Morgantown as the Sooners took on the Mountaineers in a Big 12 showdown. But before the game could even get started, the players from both sides decided to meet in the middle for a pregame trash talk. OU came out firing on all cylinders, putting up 21 in the first quarter. Baker Mayfield connected with D.D. Westbrook on a short pass that led to a long TD run by Westbrook. West Virginia started to heat up, but Jordan Evans then took an interception back to the house. I was there freezing in the snow, as well as Reagan Ledbetter and Carson Williams, and here's what they had to say.
Week 2 of Championship November in the books as Oklahoma wins big in Morgantown. Reagan, big day for the running game. Obviously, this weather here was the main factor. OU ran the ball a lot tonight.
I said before the game, my key to this game was OU on the road here in Morgantown. You have to start fast. You have to establish a run game with Joe Mixon and Samaje Perine, and that's what they did. Got out quick, 21 points on the board like in a flash.
Yeah.
And before you know it, they almost shut them out in the first half, and Samaje and Joe were lighting up the scoreboard.
Yeah, both of them combined for over 300 yards on the ground, a couple of touchdowns, 3 or 4 touchdowns for both of them. OU, again, they get by enough on the defensive side of the ball. Wasn't great tonight. Gave up a couple long balls. Third quarter was a little rough for them, but they come out with a win.
The warm-up couldn't have been nicer. I thought, oh, man, this is going to be a perfect day, and we came back out, and it was a whiteout. So just proud of my players, our players here, the way we managed it all. Didn't have a turnover, handled the conditions as well as you could possibly expect.
For OU to come on the road in a hostile environment like this, in the snow as you see right now, and get a huge win, putting up 56 points on the Mountaineers.
Yeah, we're going to get out of here before we blow away with all this other snow, but that's it. OU wins in Morgantown. They will be back in action December 3rd in Norman for Bedlam. That'll do it for us here. I'm Carson Williams for Reagan Ledbetter. Good night.
OU's men's basketball team beat Clemson in their Orlando tournament yesterday, while the women beat BYU 68-61 on the road. And if the start of basketball season has you pumped up, to be sure to check out tonight's Sooner Sports Pad show. Carson Williams is here with the preview. Carson?
Thanks, Kenneth. It is Ladies Hoops Night this week on Sooner Sports Pad. The one and only Sherry Cole will be our in-studio guest. Blakely Durham introduces you to the Sooners' tallest new player, and we'll unveil our best moments of the year. We are live to the nation on Fox College Sports Central tonight at 7:30, and of course you can catch the whole show tomorrow here on OU TV right after our newscast. Kenneth, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Carson. To Pro Hoops and Paul George sitting out against the Thunder yesterday. Going into the fourth, Russell Westbrook leads the Thunder to a comeback with a strong drive to the hole. In the final seconds, Westbrook hits from 3 to tie it up and send the game into overtime. More from Russ with another push to the basket, but the Pacers were just too much as Jeff Teague gets the and one, and Indiana would pull away from there. And to the NFL with the Cowboys versus Ravens. Dak Prescott continues to shine, throwing 3 touchdowns on the day. 2 of those going to X-Factor Dez Bryant. He caught the first TD in the third quarter, and then in the fourth caught another to put the boys up 24-10. They would go on to win the game 27-17. You know, guys.
That looked incredible. How was it being there in the snow at that game?
It was great. Honestly, the snow came down hard, and I just got really pumped. During the game, I was shivering. I was pumped up. Like what Ken would say, I was fired up. I was
ready to go.
Yes, I was.
And about those Cowboys, too, who would have thunk in 2016, 9-1?
They're great, yeah. Maybe Super Bowl champion soon.
All right, thanks, Kenneth.
Thanks, Kenneth. And still to come on OU Nightly, Oklahomans gather to remember a legendary musician.
It's just the fact.
I'm Abby Green at the Update Desk. An earthquake with a magnitude that could be as high as 7.3 was reported off Fukushima in Japan. Warning was issued that a tsunami as high as 10 feet could make landfall. A previous 2011 tsunami destroyed the main nuclear plant in this area. Residents in the Tokyo area felt shaking, but there haven't been reports of injuries or damage. That's it for now. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Abby. Oklahomans are feeling the loss of legendary musician Leon Russell. More than 1,000 people met in Tulsa to remember the musician who died on November 13th at 74. Russell sang, wrote, and produced some of rock and roll's top records. He worked with other big names like Bob Dylan, Frank Sinatra, and the Rolling Stones. We'll leave you now with some of his great work. Good night.
I love you for my life, you are a friend of mine. And when my life is